Back to Psalm 119:33 through 40. Memorizing can be work, but it doesn't have to be a tedious chore. That is why we choose verses that are meaningful to us. I encourage you again to think of this not as merely Bible memorization, but this passage is a prayer that we're incorporating into our very being. We're determining to make this a part of our hearts and minds. Let me read the passage to you again. Teach me, O Lord, to follow your decrees, then I will keep them to the end. Give me understanding, and I will keep your law, and obey it with all my heart. Direct me in the path of your commands, for there I find delight. Turn my heart toward your statutes, and not toward selfish gain. Turn my eyes away from worthless things. Preserve my life according to your word. Fulfill your promise to your servant, so that you may be feared. Take away the disgrace I dread, for your laws are good. How I long for your precepts. Preserve my life in your righteousness. The process we go through is the same as we've done over the last 2 days. We might again find that we can't really remember the verses we worked on, and again we might think that we can't memorize. However, each day we go through this process brings us closer to hiding this word in our hearts. Today we might find that it is much easier to remember the parts we studied. In fact, after a quick review, we might be able to do an entire line without looking. If that's the case, then we can work to put the whole verse together and say that without looking. If you're finding that you really can do a whole verse easily, then try saying 2 verses together. Remember to look back as often as you need to. It doesn't matter where you're at in the process, whether you still feel like you're on day 1 just putting a few words together, or you think you could practically quote the whole passage. There's no time limit on how fast this has to be done. That is why we pick verses that are meaningful to us, so that even the process is enjoyable. How long it takes to memorize something is very individual, and it shouldn't feel like a competition. It is an act of love towards God, a way in which we invite God into our lives. With that in mind, the process is just as beneficial as the result. Remember as you work through to memorize today, to be meditating on what you are saying as well. And if something stands out to you, don't feel like you have to keep trying memorizing. Stop and spend some time reflecting on what stood out to you.